The ego, our worst enemy or our best friend? Let's talk a little bit about that. Hey guys, welcome back to Tipharot. It's me, Matt here, and today I want to talk a little bit about the ego. Now, any of you who are familiar with any sort of spirituality know the kind of problems that the ego can cause, but I'm going to, detail some of them anyway. Basically, our ego is what causes us to desire things, to yearn for things, and often that desire can cause us a lot of problems. I've made other videos about this, but the basis of it is that when you desire things externally to you, you can never really be satisfied because those things are only fleeting. Experiences are fleeting, material possessions are fleeting, people are fleeting, and eventually you lose it all when you pass on from this world. So all of those things are fleeting and they can never provide true fulfillment. But the ego makes us search for them anyway. The ego also tries to seek validation from other people, and it tries to seek out these kind of mundane, hedonistic pleasures, those quick dopamine hits and rushes that we can get from certain things, and it leads us to get into a lot of trouble. So naturally, most of us have been trying to, go on this quest of destroying the ego, defeating the ego, and there is such an experience as what's known as ego death, where you secede from the ego and you essentially experience oneness, a true oneness with the universe, and it is a wonderful experience, and I highly recommend people to, pursue that. But the thing is, you can't pursue that. That's the kind of weird part of it, because if you try to pursue something, that is your ego. Your ego is the thing that pursues things and that wants things. So when you actually want to have that experience, you can't. So there is no, real way to actually go about, quelling your ego. Instead, you simply have to be able to accept it to actually be able to quell it. And one thing that I suggest doing is actually learning to work with your ego, because that means that even when it's there, which is most of the time, you are going to be able to live with it. So what do I mean when I say working with your ego? Well, I like to think of my ego like a wild beast, perhaps a wild horse, untamed, and running wild. This wild horse, can be problematic. If you're trying to, ride it somewhere, it's going to try and go off on its own way. It might even try and attack you. It's going to cause you lots of problems. But with a lot of hard work, you can tame it and turn it into, a wonderful horse for yourself. So think of it like that. And remember that when you get certain things coming up from your ego, that it's just the fact that your ego is untamed. So let's give some examples of that. Let's say, for example, you experience some fear. You are afraid of a certain situation. Maybe you're going out public speaking somewhere and you're afraid, you're nervous. Naturally, we accept those feelings as our own, but in reality, those feelings come from our ego. Our ego is the thing that is saying, oh no, I'm afraid, something bad's going to happen, I need to run away from this, I need to, go into avoidance behaviour. When in actual fact, you don't, and that's just your ego speaking. But rather than trying to get rid of this feeling that your ego is producing, you learn to work with it. You say, okay, I'm feeling this way, and I'm going to do this anyway. That's going to teach the ego that you're not responding to the way it interacts with you, that you're only responding to it when it's helpful. And the other thing you can do is you can reward your ego when it's helpful, and you can do that with something as simple as literally just telling yourself in your head that you've done a good job. Your ego is the one hearing that, and so, if you go out and say you face that fear, you go out and you go and you do the public speaking. When you do that, tell yourself afterwards that you did a good job, because your ego responds to things like praise and validation. It wants that, it feeds on that, it thrives on that. And so if it sees that it is getting that when it's actually, stepping out of the way and letting you do things your own way, then it's going to want to actually do things that way, and it's actually going to start working with you. So you can turn your ego from being an enemy to perhaps actually being a friend. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to subscribe up there because you've got regular videos that come out multiple times a week. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up, and if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. Also, if you want to keep watching, check out the video that's linked on screen. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.